Hey, how are you all doing there, guys and gals? Hope you're doing well, as usual. Now, this is obviously the Kawasaki Ninja 125 that my wife is using to practice with, as you can see with the ugly L plates on. But anyway, today's video is going to be about 4 drills that you can practice in a nice quiet area that will make you a better rider and that will give you essential skills. Let's get to it. So yeah, we're in a quiet estate here on a Saturday. I don't think any of these businesses are open today, so it's an ideal area to go, and I'm sure that there are places like this that you can go to practice in, or maybe just like a supermarket car park on a Sunday or something like that. Basically, all these maneuvers or all these drills are trying to get you to learn how not to drop the bike, how to stay in control of the bike the whole time you're riding, so you know exactly what it is the bike's going to do with whatever you do on it. You need to know exactly what the bike does, and this basically gives you a better idea of the capabilities of your motorcycle. But these were things that I was going through with my wife the other day, and I thought I'd share them with you. And basically the skills are pulling off quickly. Now, the reason why that is quite I'd say probably one of the most important skills to learn is here in the UK with motorcycles like these 125s, you have to wring the hell out of them to get any kind of power. So you have to know how to use this motorcycle properly to get yourself off the line quickly. So that is the first skill. The second skill is also getting off the line quickly, but at a bend. Because here in the UK as well, you see a lot of T-junctions that are quite small. So trying to get up to speed to try and cross, say for example, if you're turning right, so obviously in the UK we drive on the left-hand side of the road. So if you want to go right at a T-junction, you have to cross the lane with the traffic going left in order to get out that way. And if it's a busy road, you have to be able to get off the line quickly there to keep yourself safe basically, and so you're not actually sticking yourself into oncoming traffic. So getting off the line quickly in a straight line and getting off the line quickly at a bend is 2 vital skills. But also things like balancing on slow speed maneuvers. Now, this is something that my wife struggles with quite a lot, is how far do you need to turn the bike's handlebars at slow speeds to do the turn that you want without dropping the bike. Now, this bike hasn't got any crash bobbins, frame sliders, nothing like that. It is literally stock as you see it. So if she does drop the bike, then, you know, the fairing's basically going to be damaged forever unless she decides to get it fixed. But these are what these bikes are for. They're designed to be dropped by beginners, but if you can keep them in a really good condition, then great, because it means they're going to have more resale value when you come to sell it. And these bikes do have a lot of resale value simply because there are lots of youngsters that want to get into motorcycles and they can't afford a brand new one of these, so instead they go for a used one. And if you can find a used one that has been well looked after, that hasn't been in a crash or dropped or anything, well, hey, you're doing pretty well. So doing slow speed maneuvers, how can you practice slow speed maneuvers or slow speed turns and things like that? Say if you're in a busy car park or something and you have to do some really tight turns, then I'm going to teach you a little drill that you can use to practice that. But also, this drill happens to be on the full motorcycle test here in the UK as well, so it's always good to get the practice in now, and it's a lot easier for you when you actually come to do your test, which hopefully a lot of you will after you learn to ride and after you're comfortable riding. The last skill is emergency braking. Yeah, that's a tough one, because emergency braking on a motorcycle is really hard without dropping the bike. Now, I'm really lucky here, this bike has got ABS, but a lot of 125cc motorcycles for beginners do not have ABS whatsoever. So it's really easy to lock up the tyres and basically fall on your face. Alright, so let's get on the bike and let's start off with pulling off quickly in a straight line. Okay. Now what I want you guys to do is nominate a landmark in the area you're practicing in. So I'm going to pick this parking spot right here on my left as a marker, and then the other red parking spot at the end there, that's my second marker. Now what I want you to do is to give the bike, if you're on a 125, give the bike loads of gas. before letting out the clutch. This is how you get more speed off the line. A lot of you probably already know this, but doing this little drill here will help you actually know how much gas is enough gas, how much clutch is enough clutch, because it's very easy to not give one or the other enough, and with the clutch you can give it too much and the bike stalls, and yeah, bad. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know, how far is this? Maybe 15 meters between this parking spot and that parking spot over there. So I'm going to try and get to 25 miles an hour by the time I reach that parking spot. Here we go. So you want to give the bike loads of gas before you pull off. Now I'm just twisting the throttle here just to get an idea of how long it takes for the revs to go up. Your bike is going to be slightly different in the throttle response that it has. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, nice. So I managed to get to 26 miles an hour before reaching the next line. Nice. I'm happy with that. 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, there we go. So that's the very first drill I want you to practice. If you're struggling to get off the line quickly, I mean, I'll show you what my wife does. So the way how I originally taught my wife was to get the bike moving forward like this with the clutch, and it's the same technique that I showed you guys in the how to ride motorcycles, the basics video. I'll have that linked up there in the top corner for you. But basically, yeah, so you just use the clutch until the bike starts moving forward. But the problem that my wife was having was that she wasn't giving it gas in time, and so basically she kept on letting out the clutch and the bike ended up stalling before the gas actually started applying. And this is what I'm saying about getting used to that throttle response. When does the bike actually start applying gas? When you pull the throttle back. Now for this bike, it's quite a long response. And also it's got quite a lot of play here in the throttle. I'm sure that can be adjusted, the throttle wire, but these are things that you'll have to get used to on your own bike. So let's do it again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. All right, good. Now if you know how to do that, that gives you a really good start for pulling off quickly at a corner or at a T-junction. You'd be surprised how many times you'll have to do this, especially in the UK. There's a lot of T-junctions, a lot of small roads, and even little roads going onto main roads have T-junctions, so it is an essential skill. Now this is the next drill. This here is a T-junction. You have to turn right, but there's traffic, really busy traffic in both directions. So you can't go really slowly out like this because you're going to get munched. You can't do that. You have to get out quickly. So how are you going to do that? You're going to use the exact same technique just now that we practiced when we were doing the straight, except this time you're going to be turning the handlebars. Now one thing that you want to keep in mind is the faster you go, the more you can turn the handlebars. The slower you go, the less you'll be able to turn your handlebars. Now look, if you think about it this way, if I turn my handlebars whilst I'm stood still and lift both of my legs up, the bike wants to fall this way. Yeah? And it's the exact same thing that it's going to want to do. It's going to want to fall over to the side that you are turning the handlebars to in slow maneuvers. The only way to counteract that is to speed up, is to get faster. And obviously that is a really difficult thing to do on a 125. But here we go. Let's see how quickly I can get to maybe about there where the where that little slope is on the pavement. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I managed to get to about 21 miles an hour there. Let's practice that again, shall we? Here we go, practice number 2. So I'm giving it loads of gas. I'm giving it about 7,000 or 8,000 RPM here to pull off the line. That's what I was saying to you earlier, is you have to wring these bikes to get any kind of power out of them. But exactly the same process as the first basics video where you let out the clutch slowly like this. You have to do the exact same thing except give it loads of gas. So you combine the extra RPM with pulling out the clutch slowly like that. Here we go, let's practice again. 3, 2, 1. Again, 21 miles an hour. Nice. So I'm pretty consistent. You don't have to be an expert drag racer to be able to do this. It's all about knowing your bike, knowing how much gas you need to give it to get the kind of power that you need to get off the line at these junctions. All right, so here's another thing that beginners kind of get confused about. So the clutch. There is bite point. I've got it in neutral at the moment, so it's not going to go anywhere. There's bite point. There, and that is the difference between you going forward and stalling the bike. I'll demonstrate again. Bite point, stalling or going. That is it. I'll demonstrate. Bite point, going forward. Can you see that? Can you hear that? The bike nearly died there. Let's do it again. Bite point, bike dying. So it's at that point, if you don't give it enough gas, at that point, the bike's going to stall. So you want to avoid that. And the way to avoid that? By giving lots of gas. So here we go again. See what? I'm going to get to bite point this time. Why not? There's bite point. Here we go. I'm going to do the exact same drill again. 3, 2, 1. Boom. 21 mile an hour again. And that is how you get out in front of lots of traffic at something like a T-junction. And also roundabouts as well. It works for roundabouts too. Alright, now can you see the two obstacles in front of me? So what we're going to practice is a figure of 8. Here in the UK, that is part of your full test. So it's a good idea to practice this anyway, but it will help you with slow maneuvers and, you know, how far you can take the bike over in one direction or another doing this right here. So I got that pallet from a pile over there from one of these local businesses. Okay, I'll put it back afterwards. Sorry guys, whoever's in that unit, I'm sorry, but don't worry, I'll put it back. And I found that cone randomly somewhere around here as well, but I'll put that one back as well. But here we go. So let's see how we can do this figure of 8 right here. Now I'm just going to demonstrate, and then I'll explain to you what's happening afterwards. Now I'm going quite wide here on these ones, just to begin with. I'm just getting my bearings, getting used to the bike, getting used to its turning circle. And once I've gotten used to it, I can start getting a little bit closer. A little bit closer to the obstacles. Don't be afraid to turn the handlebars full lock in one direction or another if you need to. Now there's a way you can cheat at these as well, which I will also show you. So learning the balance of the bike at slow maneuvers is a really difficult skill to learn. It's something that you might have learned on a bicycle if you've ever ridden a bicycle before. I say that, but some people I know never rode a bicycle when they were younger. But anyway, if you did, it's a very similar process, except you've got much heavier steering and a much heavier bike. So you really have to be careful with the way how you kind of negotiate these short, sharp maneuvers. And of course it's harder on a heavier bike as well. Now at the moment I'm just letting the bike kind of use the idle to propel itself forward, basically. So I'm trying to keep the bike upright as possible whilst I turn the handlebars. But I'm turning the handlebars quite a lot, and I'm just using the brakes to kind of keep myself upright. Now you will see a lot of people recommend to use the rear brake for this, for the slow speed maneuvers, and yeah, it really does help. If you use the rear brake, it makes you a lot more stable. But to do this, you don't need any brakes to do this, because this is about as tight as you need to go for the test anyway. And to be honest, this is about as tight as you'll need to go in general, really. You won't have to do any tighter corners than this usually, even in parking areas in the UK. But I'll teach you the cheat. The cheat is to go really wide and then cut back in sharply. So I'm going to go really wide of this next obstacle and cut in sharply, because now I'm getting really close to it. You see that? So I'll go really wide here, and I'll cut back in. So I can go around it really sharply. Now look, I went around it a bit too sharply then, but don't be afraid to put your foot down whilst you're practicing as well. Remember, this is an extreme example here of what it is that you'll need to be doing. But if you can do this, you can pretty much do it on the street. So here we go. Let's see if I can do it without putting my foot down this time. Here we go. Because of course you want to be able to not put your foot down whilst you're doing this, but if you have to save the bike, well, that's what you have to do. I'm sure all of us have had to do that. Put both of our feet down to stop the bike from falling. I'm sure that's not a rarity at all. I mean, we are on 2 wheels after all. Alright, and then once you have done that one direction, you can go the other direction as well. Here we go. And it might seem boring to do this because you're not doing it out on the street, but it's really, really important. These are important skills here, knowing the boundaries of the bike, knowing how far you can turn the handlebars. Look at how far I'm turning the handlebars here, and I'm only going 4 miles an hour, sometimes 3 miles an hour. It's nearly at full lock here whilst I'm doing this, and I'm able to keep the bike going, keep the bike upright. Yeah, so this is quite an important skill, and I'd highly recommend all of you beginners to practice this. And even if you can practice on a larger motorcycle, practice on that. But here in the UK, if you're on a 125, even if you already have your CBT and you already have your full license, this kind of these drills will help you get to know your bike better. They'll help you get to know the limits of the bike. Yeah, it's really useful. All of these drills, not just this figure of 8 here. Alright, I've done enough figure of 8s, so I'm going to put these this pallet back and the cone back where I found it, and we'll move on to emergency braking. Yeah, just putting the cone back. Just using the clutch, everybody. Alrighty, so again, similarly to when we were finding landmarks earlier, when we were pulling off, well, now this time I want you to find a landmark to stop by. But don't kind of make that a firm landmark, because if you have to overshoot it, you have to overshoot it. Sometimes there's no way around that. And in those instances, sometimes it's a judgment call whether or not you actually do an emergency brake or whether you try and avoid the obstacle. You kind of evade the obstacle. Say if it's a car braking hard or something like that, sometimes you have to go around the outside of it because you simply don't have enough braking distance. I mean, to be fair, you should always have enough braking distance, but it happens to all of us, so it's a judgment call. But you have to know this skill anyway, because again, it's something that they will do on your motorcycle test, and it's going to be harder than this. But anyway, so let's see if I can get up to, again, 25 miles an hour when I get to that second car parking space over there, that second lot. So I'm going from this one, starting off at this one, going over to that one at the end, and then I'm going to try stopping before I get to the last set of parking spaces, the red ones. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Well, there you go. I think I could have done better than that. But yeah, don't necessarily worry about how fast you're going whilst you're practicing this. If it has to be like 20 miles an hour, so here we go, 20 mile an hour emergency brake. If it has to be like that to practice, then that's how you should do it. Don't practice like 50 miles an hour to 0, because you're probably going to end up crashing the bike. But try and get to at least 40 or 30 miles an hour to practice. The aim is to try and get to, I think it's 32 miles an hour or 40 kilometers an hour, I think. So if you can get to that speed and do an emergency brake within, say, 15 meters, you're doing okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around this roundabout, and I'm going to do 32 miles an hour, and I'm going to start slowing down at the same The same parking spots that I was using as a landmark before. There's 32. Boom. Okay. And look at that. I actually managed to stop sooner than the first one. I was going slower. But this is how you can practice it. Even though you find a lot of people will say, oh, if you have ABS, you can just jam on the brakes. Not really. You don't want to jam on the brakes even when you have ABS. But you especially don't want to jam on the brakes when you don't have ABS, because your tires will lock up on you if you don't do it right. And if you lock up your tires, if you lock up your front tire and your rear tire together, yeah, you're pretty much screwed. But learn how to apply it gradually. So here we go. So I'm not slowing down as hard as I possibly can, but I'm getting a feel for the bike. I'm getting a feel for the limitations of the bike. So let's try again. Let's see if I can brake any sooner than that. Or not any sooner rather, but if I can make the braking distance even shorter. Remember, on a 125 it's a lightweight bike, so you should be able to start be pretty good even if you've only got one caliper on your front tire. Alright, here we go. Let's see if I can get to 32 miles an hour again. Go around the bend. 32. Alright. I just skidded the rear wheel. Yep, you can see the line. Boom, you can see the line. Okay, this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to skid the rear wheel. That is a fail in your test. So this is what I'm saying, getting to know the limitations of the bike. Now, I've never actually had to do an emergency brake before on this motorcycle, but there you go. Now I know how much brake I can give the rear. We'll do it one last time and then we'll wrap this video up. Here we go. 32. Stop. Okay. Nice. Now, did I skid that time? No, I didn't. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna head off home now. I've got some errands to run. But remember, even if you are allowed to practice on a larger motorcycle than a 125, if you are allowed to practice on a larger bike, you should do the exact same test right there. Learning how to get off to a really good start off the line, and use the speeds that I had here as a reference point as well. So I managed to do, what was it, 20 something miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, going from the stop start around the bend. Try and get up to that speed yourself on your motorcycle. If you have a larger bike, it's probably going to be easier for you to get that speed, but that's as fast as you need to go, really. So yeah, use that as a benchmark. Use all the speeds that I had here in this video as a benchmark for yourselves. So there's a perfect example there of when you need to pull away quickly at a roundabout. Alright there, guys and gals, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope for you beginners watching that it's been a useful video for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have any more tips and tricks or any more drills for beginners, those of you that are experienced riders out there. Yeah, let us know how you practice. Did you practice in a similar fashion, doing drills and things like that? Or did you do it the way how I did it? Oh, that was a Hayabusa. Woo! Hayabusa, baby. Or did you practice the way how I practiced and didn't do any of those things? Even though I think I probably should have. Yeah, that guy pulled out in front of me. Thank you very much. Hey. But yeah, these bikes are a lot of fun, even though you have to wring the hell out of them to get any kind of power. They're so light and nimble, you can literally throw them about. It's great. But anyway, guys and girls, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you ever so much again for watching. Hope you are having an awesome day, and I hope you have an amazing day ahead of you, and we'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one.